Hi everyone, this is the Coach to Coach podcast. Next episode with Sharon from US Colorado. Hi Sharon, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Sophie. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Before the podcast, we just had a short chat about what you do at the moment. And interestingly, you are in a transition period. Could you talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, definitely. So my business is called Sharon Bailey Co. And I have been a business coach of a variety of natures over the last number of years. And recently, I have been pivoting more towards a mentorship and education model. And so what that means and what we were discussing is in coaching, it's a lot more about like goal setting. There is strategy. There's a lot of different ways actually that people, go at the coaching model. But my model was set up as, let's talk about your work, let's strategize, and then we'll set goals. And then you'll come back and we'll talk about those goals, like what did you accomplish? What do we need to work on, etc. What I have turned more towards, and I actually think it's really in alignment with how the coaching industry is shifting, is a mentorship based model where my clients come to me, we, hash through the stuff, but it's a lot more, they're driving the conversation. So I have a lot of people who are like, I've kind of got this business thing down. But when they bump up against something, like say they get in their own way or they have, a bump in the road, then that's when they come to me and they say, like, hey, I need you to walk me through this. And so that's it's a nuanced difference, I feel like. And you and I met on Threads, and I know that there's a lot of conversation about this happening on Threads right now about like the difference between coaching and mentorship and consulting and, all this stuff, right? But for me, it came out of, so I'm in a master's in entrepreneurship program at University of Colorado in Denver. And I have a business mentor through that program, and he is a very seasoned consultant and mentor for entrepreneurs. And, when I come to him, like, I already have an idea, I've been running my business for years. Like,
Yes.
when I have an issue though, of like, I don't really know how to work through this one, I just take it to him. He tells me about his, in my experience, I've done XYZ, what are you doing? What's working for you? What's not working for you? And then I'm like, okay, great. This is what I think I'm going to do. And he's like, that should work. Go try it. And so I've taken that and used it in my work, which is essentially what I was doing already. But now I'm titling it mentorship so that it's a little more clear that it's not like we're going to come in, we're going to set, our SMART goals and we're going to like, move, because that's great for some people, but I was finding that's not what my clients need anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Maybe there will be a new word for this type of hybrid model. And it's interesting what you just said, that your mentor listens to you, tells you what he or she think about your proposal approach. And after that, if I understood correctly, they ask you, or he asks you, that what do you think about it and which way would work for you the best. Is it something what you adopted and this is what you want to do in the future?
Yeah. It's something that I like as an educator. So my undergrad's in education, and as somebody who's just I've always been in education. Like I was a birth educator, I was a yoga teacher, I was a art teacher, like all the things. So education is just kind of knitted into who I am. And for me, when like coaching, I felt like there was a wall there where it was like, yes, we were co-creating it together, my clients and I, but it was more about like action items, and
Yes.
it didn't really lend to that. So for me, yes, like that blends in the like education and mentorship support system of, of like, hey, this is my experience. I hear your experience. This is my experience. Okay, now what do you want to make? Right. And so it's like, yeah, we filled in the gaps with everything that we know. And now I want to put it back into their hands and just say like, okay, take it and run with it. And, when you need me, I'm here. But
Yes.
really, you're the one in control. Like, this is your business. And I really think that actually is one of the things that overall, the like underlying, maybe sometimes unsaid thing that knits it together is like, a lot of people, when I was saying I was a coach, would come to me wanting the answers. And what I
Yeah.
really
All
want
the
them to
time.
do, is like,
Yes.
you come up with the answers because ultimately it's your business, right? Like you got to decide all this on your own. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to be here to like hold you up, when inevitably something comes up because that's the nature of business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so. We need to find a definition for it and the name of this sort of hybrid. I would call this hybrid
Mm-hmm.
model, or blended model, let's say. But how you explain your vision? Because usually I ask coaches why coaching, how they arrive here, but you are, trying to figure out your new profile. And what you just said, again, here, there are goals, there are action points, but maybe it's more intense, more action driven, more towards, let's say, materialistic things, as opposed to connecting with ourselves, which is also great. But what I just thought, meanwhile, you were telling me this new approach that you will tell them what you think about it, so on and so forth. Don't you think that you will narrow your client base then? Because what coaches say, we can coach everyone basically. But what do you think about it? Because now you are blending your experience in the experience as
Yeah.
well. I mean, the
So
coaching experience, sorry.
I think to answer your question, maybe I need to share a little background about how I got to this
Yes.
point. So, for a number of years, I was business coaching. I
Uh-huh.
started with creatives in the creative industry because that
Okay.
was before I became a coach. And before I became an entrepreneur. Background was in I was directors of various arts organizations, so I worked with creatives. And the
Uh-huh.
last place that I was at was an artist in residency program. And so I was working with artists from all over the world, all different capacities. And, I started getting into like the systems of, how they were promoting themselves and so then I had my kid and life changed and I needed to transition out of that work and into something else. And so I became an entrepreneur and I played around with some different things like as entrepreneurs do. And eventually I started having creatives come to me and say like, help me with my business. Okay, great.
Uh-huh.
So I started helping them with their business. That's how I got into business coaching. And then I started having healing arts practitioners say the same thing. And that's actually when I transitioned into niching down, as we say, right?
Yes.
To
Yes. Yes.
that group, right? And it's one-on-one service providers, if practitioners of healing arts. So that's what I was working with for the last number of years. Very recently, and it was like, we're going to go in, I'm going to help you set up your systems, and I called it systems and soul work, right? Because inevitably, when you're a one-on-one service provider, you are your business. So many things come up, right? And I would say the systems are the easy part. The soul work is the stuff that's really hard. So I found myself actually helping people through the emotional, the social, emotional, like all the stuff that comes up in the underlying currents of creating a business. And that's actually what really pulled me into the realm of wanting to more mentor and less
Uh-huh.
like the little nitty gritty stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so recently I actually opened up more to, can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
say,
Yeah. If you
okay,
want
okay,
to.
okay. Sorry. So the group of people that I've decided I really want to work with is, I say, witches, wise women, and badass babes, right? Because it's like,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like,
Nice.
it's a wide variety of people, but it's also a specific group of people, right? And it's
Yes.
like, I want to work with this. I am working with this group of people because I started finding what happened is more people started coming to me that weren't in my niche, but I knew I could help. And so that's why I expanded, right? Like we have to move with the ebbs and flows of what our business is requiring of us. And I actually look at a business as a living, breathing entity. It's a part of ourselves that we're
Yes.
putting out into the world, right? And so I really like dove into, what is the psyche of my business, right? Like the soul of my business asking, and it's asking me to open up, to broaden more, but
Mm-hmm.
also to mentor and educate instead of just like coaching strategies,
Yeah.
right?
I
And
love it. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I see that you would like to work with strong people who are okay with themselves,
hmm
ladies, I
hmm
find out,
hmm
and you want them to achieve even a broader success, not just the success with themselves. So maybe you are the next level of the coaching. So I can imagine a life coach, right? When they find themselves, when they find, okay, I really want to do XYZ business. And after that, the next step that they work with you because they are strong, they are ambitious, and they just need the support and guidance how to do, where to go, and how they can make the business a successful enterprise.
yeah,
So
exactly. It's
it's
somebody
great.
who, thank you. It's like, I think, one of the differences is like being able to, I mean, I call this program the path, my mentorship program. And it's like being able to walk side by side, like knowing that they can call on me to come in, somebody who's been where they've been, right?
Yes.
And like who understands it more. It's a deeper understanding of what it really takes to be a successful service providing entrepreneur
Mhm.
as a woman in particular, because and there's reasons why I work with women, but it's nothing more than like that's where my passion is. And I want to
Yes.
see women succeed. So many business owners, or so many businesses in the first few years fail. And to me, it's like, it's such a radical, change to put in the world to like help women business owners succeed in their mission, right? And especially like heart centered, values driven, like, you know, business owners who really just want to make an impact in the world. I'm like, what a better group of people to have more money,
Yes.
because it's like,
Yes.
think about the impact that that has, right? And so I have shifted to just being that person that can be like, yeah, I've been there. I understand what you're saying. This is what works. This is what doesn't work in my experience. What's worked in your experience? What's not hasn't. Okay, let's strategize, come up with a plan. What do you want to do? Okay, great, go do that. And I'm here when you need me next.
Yes. Okay, so you already defined what I was about to ask you, like the
Okay.
ideal client. So
Uh-huh.
we know the answer, but how the people or the ladies who decide, okay, after this podcast, I want to reach out to Sharon and work with her, how they can imagine the session or the whole, let's say, experience, the path experience with you, if you could just tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So for this program in particular, so I have two offerings, and one is actually something that I'm building out, and it's more like business school for beginners, like emerging
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, and it's a much more structured environment. So this offering in particular it's a fairly simple structure. We meet once a month for 30 minutes on Zoom. And, anything that's come up that like needs a bigger conversation, we talk about.
Mhm.
For example, I just got off a call with somebody. She came in, she's, you know, dabbling in this new idea of a business. And she's like, these are the ways I'm getting in my own way. Really, I'm just looking for some clarity around this. And I'm like, great, I understand. Like, let's talk about it. So we talk about it. By the end, she's feeling really good about moving forward in her next steps. And then, it's still a little coaching, right? Because we've got some action items, but she just is feeling a lot more clear about how she can move forward. So we wrap it up. And then she has access to me through Telegram. I use Telegram.
Mhm. Mhm.
At any point, during the business week, she can message me, we can go back and forth. And essentially that's it. So it's like anytime, once a month, if she needs to, book a call with me, she does.
Mm-hmm.
And then anytime she has something come up, she does. And so it's really that simple. And then I actually have adapted because I really thought about like, what did I need? Like, what did I need when I'm a single mom? Like, and what did I need post divorce when I was on food stamps and like, just struggling to get my footing. And even though I had had an established business, like life came
Yeah.
up, right? And I needed stability, but I needed support. And so I adapted a payment option from this business creator called Simone Sewell or Soul. I actually am not really sure how you pronounce her last name, but she's amazing. She had this podcast called Your Korean Mom. She's outstanding, but she gave, different tiers of pricing. And I was like, I'm going to do the same thing. So I have two different pricing tiers and some parameters around it. Like this is how you know if this is for you, and this is how you know if this is for you. It's for accessibility.
Great.
Yeah. And so that's essentially it. It's like, go to my website, SharonBailey.co. You can go look. You can also schedule what I call a vibe check with me, which is like, let's just make sure we vibe first before even like going down that road. Because like there's a lot of people on the internet saying they can do a lot of things for people. And I want somebody to feel really secure in their decision of working with me. But yeah, and then that's it. We just start moving forward.
Perfect. I think so. You said support, you needed support. And I think so. The way you talk about your potential client or the client, these people or these ladies, they need security as well and understanding.
100%.
Maybe they just need you just to share the idea, get the support, feel secure, and just share something with like-minded people. And you are here for them to guide, okay, this is good. Oh, well, maybe you can do it better and you can think about it. But again, you don't give them the solution and the answer straight away. It's just very interesting for me. Usually I ask coaches their memorable moment or most challenging moment, but I would like to ask you, what was the most memorable / challenging moment in your business? Because you said you set up the business as well. And of course you feel that other ladies can struggle with that. So what was it which stick with you forever, let's say?
That's a deep question. Well, first I want to go back and say, like, you're absolutely right. Like, security is a huge part of it, and like that safety feeling. And sometimes actually the answers and solutions always come up in the conversation, right? And so, but I really love that you identified that, because that was something that I was craving for so long. And I think there's a number of moments that come up, and for some reason there's this one that's really surfacing, and it was actually I was in a really, really rough spot in my divorce, and I remember I was losing my mind, and just with so much anxiety and so much sadness, and I was really having like full on meltdown, and I knew I had 8 minutes between clients to just melt down. And then I had to get back on a phone call again and support somebody and hold space for them, right? And that is a moment in my business life that I really like. I knew I needed to change and adjust some stuff, but what I needed to do was just take a step back. It was when I knew I needed to take a step back,
Did you feel alone that time?
Oh my God, I was so alone. Yeah.
So probably this will play a role in your new chapter as well.
Definitely.
Probably you don't want other people or other ladies feel alone in their journey.
100%.
It's just so wonderful how everything impacts on you, and even you realize on your journey what are the very important milestones in your life and how you arrive to your new profile. Because we can't talk about it, how you arrive. Maybe after 1 year, I will invite you back. Other coaches will be back, hopefully. Great stories. And how you said that, I felt that you were lonely and you needed to get yourself together or put yourself together, but no one was there just to tell you one powerful sentence. You needed to struggle all alone and, survive. But you are a strong woman, and every woman who wants to be entrepreneur, they are so strong, beautiful, clever, smart, whatever. Be confident and just try, go for it. Sharon is here to help you. Even I imagine myself that probably I reach out to you later on when I
Yeah.
want to do business, because we ladies have, I say spider mind. So we have, especially me, I have so many ideas, and sometimes these ideas just got me lost because I
Yes.
can't see that path, as you call your program, which would be the best for me. Great. We also, coaches and life coaches especially, focus on the values. If you can define, or I ask you, what are your top values at the moment in this transmission? What would it be, or what would they be?
Integrity is my number one value at all times. Yeah. Integrity.
What do you mean by integrity? Because it could mean something else for me and for you as well.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Okay. So integrity has always been a really, really important value in my life, which is just, I look at it like showing up, completely in all honesty and like transparency and like really meaning what I say, it's like showing up authentically, right? But in my master's program right now, I'm in a leadership course, and there's a lot of talk about integrity and leadership. And one of the things, so I've been really kind of diving down that rabbit hole because it's really, really interesting to me of just like, where does integrity play into leadership? And as entrepreneurs, especially as like people who are coaching other people or mentoring other people, it is a leadership position, right?
Yes.
And so to me, I really want to make sure that I am showing up in all of my integrity in how I present what I offer and how I show up for my clients, like, and we're actually seeing it a lot on threads too. Like people are there's a lot of conversation amongst coaches about how, there was a coaching boom, and there's all these really like high dollar coaches that have, and not even just high dollar coaches, but there's a bunch of people who have been harmed by coaches who did not show up in their integrity, right?
Yes.
They did not present their business in the way that what it actually is. They said it would be something and it wasn't what it was, right?
Wasn't.
And there's a learning curve, right? Like we're all human, of course, but that's why actually transparency is one of my number ones, because it's like, I'm going to be very, very clear with somebody like, okay, this might be out of my scope. Like you need to go seek support somewhere else, right? But I think a lot of people in scaling or in whatever, the integrity of even the program has been compromised. So for me, integrity needs to be woven into everything. Everything.
Great.
And it needs to really show up in the strength, and strength can look like, I don't actually know how to help you, right? And strength can look like, I actually do know how to help you, right? And
Honesty, I would say.
honesty. Absolutely. Yeah. And then the other thing for me, and I don't actually know if this probably falls into values, but it's something I've really, really been thinking on and talking a lot about, is the bravery that entrepreneurship takes.
Yes.
It requires so much bravery. And I quote the book Women Who Run with the Wolves. It was like do you know that book?
No, I don't.
10 out of 10 recommend it.
Okay.
I loved it. I loved it so much that I actually started a book club to read it. But
Okay.
I called it
it tells me everything.
Yeah, it's great. I called it the Wolf Bible. It like really helped me through my divorce and all of my really hard times. One of the quotes from it that I loved so much is, commit and act drenched in bravery. And I feel like that is entrepreneurship, it's like you have to be so brave to show up every day and, say what you're going to say and like help people, the act of saying to somebody, I can help you get through this very vulnerable place that you're in requires a lot of bravery and integrity.
Yeah, 100%. Wow, how great, thoughts these are. And thank you so much for sharing with
Thank you.
us, with me and the listeners as well. Sharon, I wanted to ask about who you are when you are not a coach or mentor,
Uh-huh.
what you like to do and how you relax.
I love this question. So for the last 10 years, up until a year ago, I lived in a little tiny mountain town in Colorado called Paonia. It was a 3,000 person town, no
Very
stoplights,
small.
very small, no stoplights for 90 miles. And I was like, I call myself an amateur homesteader. And I learned how to grow and can food and do all that stuff. And then in my divorce, I moved close because I have a son. His name is Fox. He's the cutest. He's 8. And so I needed to get away from Paonia because of how little it is, but I needed to be close. So I actually moved, we could say down valley to what's called the Grand Valley. And I am on the edge of the Utah Colorado border, and it's at the edge
Okay.
of the desert and the mountains. And so I spend a lot of my time going into the desert or going to the mountains, going on hikes, paddleboarding, all that fun stuff, exploring with my kid. I like to work out and go to the gym, and I have a garden and I have chickens in my backyard, and I have
Really?
I do. Yeah, I have some really, really, really funny chickens. We call it, my son and I call it chicken TV. We go watch chicken TV.
Cute.
And yeah, it's sweet. And then I have a lovely boyfriend who I'm just over the moon for. So I go spend time with him. And I live a very simple life where I have pretty things that surround me and people that I love. And I try to take a lot of downtime for myself because I'm in my 40s now. And so, I just need more downtime. And when I went through my divorce, I realized I didn't know what brought me joy anymore. So I've spent the last 3 years learning that again. And I would say I have succeeded in living a joy-filled life.
I hear that the divorce, obviously, for everyone is life changing, but this was a very significant moment in your journey. And I can see a great, happy lady who is full of energy, who is balancing her life and try to help other strong ladies. And this is just fantastic to see. Everyone has their own stories. I have my own stories why I became coach. Actually, I had a burnout and I needed to do something. Either I go down more or either I stop and I work for myself. And thanks God, coaching came to my way. And now I'm here. I'm happy. I want to help people. I want to know other people journey because everyone has fantastic story and they need to be heard. Coaches, entrepreneurs, anyone. And what I would like to say here that maybe you have a simple life but is fulfillment for you, and this is the perfect life for you as well. And what I heard, it's not simple, it's so active and you do so many great things. Great. Sharon, I ask all the coaches to define the listeners. What is the coaching benefit really? If you could tell us your thoughts on this.
I think that answer evolves over time. And right now, I think the most important benefit of my services in particular is becoming, successfully achieving your goals, but not having to do that alone.
Very nice.
You know?
And finally, tell the ladies your niche, where they can find you. We know your website, but is there any channel they can read about you or reach out to you? Please share.
Yeah. everything, you can find me all under Sharon Bailey Co. So website SharonBailey.co, my Instagram and threads are Sharon Bailey Co. And I believe my TikTok is, I'm not very active on there. I primarily actually hang out on threads because I think it's a really fun platform. But yeah, any of those. And then, you know, if somebody's sitting there thinking like, ooh, maybe this is something I need, I really want to encourage people to go on my website and sign up for a vibe check and let's just talk, you know. So, yeah.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great. Perfect. So you concentrate everything to your website, and thread, it's great as well. And people can see how everyone communicates, what is important for them and how they approach things. Well, we approach to the end, Sharon. I really love this session with you, or this podcast with you. And I wish you good luck with your new chapter. And I'm 100% sure you will succeed, and you will help or guide so many fantastic ladies to be successful entrepreneur. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. All right.
Bye. Take care.